Please welcome Sola Block.
Hi, everybody. I'm Patrick Quinlan. I'm the CEO of Sola Block. I have over 30 years experience in renewable energy development. My claim to fame is I was on the staff for the company that built the human-powered airplane that won the prize for an inventor named Paul McCready. So this is my magnum opus. This is the thing I'm going to finish up with, and I'm going to show it to you today. So this is our mission, to actually bring solar to cities. People in cities would really like to do something about climate change. And we're going to give them something they can do. And we're also going to enable communities that are typically not involved in doing anything environmental in being able to do that by empowering them, people in high rises, people in multifamily buildings, to actually have solar. Solar needs an upgrade. Conventional solar doesn't address urban specifications. How much solar do you see in a city? It's tragic. There's nothing there. And it's not because of incentives. New York State has tremendous incentives. It's the fact that so many people are there. It's a high-density urban environment. And all of us are conditioned to thinking that solar is only this big square thing. Well, the fact is that solar has gotten so cheap, it's really economic to put on the walls. And if we could do that, if all of us knew that we could do that, we would start doing that. And in cities, there's more space on the walls than there is on the roof. So you can imagine if we were to tap those walls, we would have, and we've estimated it, terawatts of potential energy production. So vertical solar unleashes solar adoption in cities. And for us, that's everything, because we know that if we were able to unleash all those people, the people who live in cities, to be able to do solar, we would actually be able to get a lot closer to meeting climate change objectives. So I'm an engineer. I worked at the National Renewable Energy Lab for many years, and I was tracking the costs of solar, and I realized that this was going to happen. So went to work at the UMass Renewable Energy Lab and left that job to start this about 4 years ago. And we basically went after all the intellectual property to do walls. And this is what we got. Solar wall systems. They have a long service life. They're vandal resistant, theft resistant, weather resistant, versatile, and very cost effective. As a matter of fact, the cost of a Sola Block wall is the same as the cost of a brick wall. It's the same, installed. We're able to cleverly do that. I just don't have time to get into it. But we've proven it. We have some white papers we could share with you about that. And for the first technology that we're unveiling, it's all about the fact that we are producing the most ubiquitous building product in the world, solar, which is a concrete block. So this is where we're starting. And it's really a wonderful marriage. The concrete is our secret sauce. It's a little thick, but it's our secret sauce. And what that does is it enables the solar to run really cool and for a very long time. We're estimating a 50-year product life for this, still getting to 80% of original production. This is pretty alarming for a lot of typical solar people. But if you know that regular solar is convectively cooled, and the aging has to do with time spent at high temperature, by coupling this with this big heat sink, we can last a lot longer. And this is what we're going to do with it. Along the Mass Pike, imagine solar walls. At the airport, the entire parking garage with solar. High school gyms with solar. Buildings that you would never think of that could be solarized, now able to do solar. So our business model is that we want to be all things for solar for walls. We want to build our solar components here in Massachusetts, and we're going to internationally license the rest. So that's what we're going to do. It's a pretty simple thing. We want to be the prime mover for solar walls and enable this revolution to take place. We're really ready. We've got patents. We've got 32 international patents pending. We got the trademarks. We've, gone through Mass CEC. We've been through 3 incubators. My partner here, Scott Longley, is a former HP and Apple supply chain expert. We've got Apple people also in the marketing department, and I'm kind of the nerd. The guy that brought practicality to us, Jason Laverty, is in the union. He's a union mason, and he's got a tattoo of a trowel on his forearm. He looks like Popeye. So we've got a great team, a very unorthodox team, but we love the work, and we're very mission-oriented. So that's all I've got to show you on this. This is actually one of our blocks. After the mason installs it, the electrician just pulls the label off, and it's solar. And this one is a broken one. That's why I took it. But it works. Just take my word for it. So this is what we see as the future of solar in cities. Yeah. And I have a movie, but I don't know how to start it. Can you?
Oh, let's see.
So, remember the movie? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Just, can you play it?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So, what do you do? What do you do with solar that you can't even beat it to death? And this is what we decided we could do. This is in Puerto Rico. A month after the storm, only 8% of the roads were open, and 25% of people were still without power. So this team decided to do what it needed to do. No, this was made by an intern. This is what we've got. So this is the product that we're going to bring in for solar. And being concrete, they're better suited for hurricane winds. Bam! You can't break it. And as a matter of fact, he broke the bat when he tried to break it. So imagine building with this a community center, a town survival center, something that could survive a hurricane. This is what the idea was, another intern project. So with a battery in that building, you'd have a community center that, for once, the next hurricane comes, it won't be a disaster. And that's the pitch for the hurricane solar for SolaBlock. Thank you. Oh, few questions. I'm over time, right? You?
I love the idea of going with blocks. What about poured concrete? You want to build blocks so high.
Yeah, you can only. You're asking about poured concrete. You can only build blocks so high. One of the markets we're looking at is actually embedding these in tilt-up concrete as one of the other customers we have. The answer is yes, and we will get to it. But you got to go to market with the first thing, right? Yeah. Right. So we're going to market with the thing that people know. But to go to your point, we have about a half dozen products, and the next one is a tile that can be thin set onto the walls of current buildings. Same thing. And that's going to actually help revolutionize everything, because if you can imagine some of the brutalist buildings, let's say Boston City Hall, right? Okay, tile it in beautiful cobalt blue solar. Wouldn't that be great? So that's where I'm going to go with it once we come out. But we've got to get our UL. So.
And actually, further on to Pat's point, we've been in contact and communications with the company that built the parking garage for Yankee Stadium. It's pre-formed concrete. And they actually have expressed interest, but we told them we have to do Fenway first before we do
Yeah, right. Sorry.
We have to draw the line. So, no, but then honestly, we've had discussions about there is an application.
Yeah. So the sky's the limit. We actually, we want to invite everyone to doing vertical solar. We don't want to just own this. We think it's a great idea. We're trying to get it to people like you. Like, why didn't I think of that? I want you to walk outside tomorrow morning and look up and go, oh my God, that could all be solar. Why did we think of that? You know, it's like wheels on luggage. In the back? Yeah. So you're asking the most asked question, which is, well, how does it work if it's vertical, it's not tilted, and you're in an urban environment where there's potential shading? Yes, that's true. We have the same shading problems that people do on roofs with chimneys and trees, except there are a lot of square feet of buildings that are lit all day. That's where we're going. So get above the first floor in a lot of situations, and you'll see that. So that's one thing. The second thing is, yes, we produce a little bit less. We produce about 3/4, but not where there's snow. Where there's snow, we're about the same, because on tilted roofs, the snow actually makes a big impact on the tilted roof solar. But more than that, we get reflected light from the ground. And so for you, with the water, we'd love to do a marine application with reflected light off the water, but even more so, if you were to put this on the first floor of a school that's surrounded by a snowfield in the winter, it does just as well as rooftop. And more importantly, the kids can walk up and go, oh, that's solar, instead of not being able to go to the roof and see the solar because they can't get on the roof because nobody's allowed to get on the roof. So I'm done. Thank you. I'll answer your question later. Pardon me?
Why did I think of that? Two-part question. For homeowners, are you looking at, so homeowners can apply that? And two, concrete, if it's surrounded by water, concrete can start to deteriorate.
Yes. To answer your question quickly, we're mostly going to commercial industrial, not so much homeowners, because it's ugly. Yeah. But if people want it, sure, they can do it. You could do raised beds with it. You could do all kinds of stuff. And the other part of your question was, concrete. We're agnostic with respect to the concrete. As a matter of fact, one of our designs uses a recycled glass block as a substrate to actually drive the market for old stuff. Okay. I lost. Yeah. Drop the mic, Pat.
Drop the mic. Thank you.